Hey, Gonzales. I heard somebody say that right now. My students call me Dr. G. So if you ever see me on campus and you can't remember if I'm Garcia or Gomez or whatever, just say, hey, Dr. G, and we'll be on the same page. So I brought this up here because I am a sweater. Not this kind of sweater you wear, but I perspire a lot. So hot lights and I don't get along very well. This last week has been pretty amazing for me because I'm pretty much a low-key, mild, live at peace kind of guy. And who comes invading my world? El Diablo. Satan, I'm not going to say with a big S, a small s, okay? And everything you could think of that could go wrong has happened since Wednesday of last week till today. And I'm thinking like, oh, why you? I'll just get you. You know what I feel like saying to Satan? You come to my house, go into my spare room. I'm going to get a baseball bat. I'm going to turn off the lights, and let's see who survives. Because I'm really upset that Satan has been attacking me, my family, during this time. And I believe it's in preparation for this message. As I said, pretty much life goes on and things are pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, El Diablo shows up, and they say, oh, brother, give me that mil máscaras, Mexican wrestling mask. And anybody see that? Nacho Libre? Huh? Yeah? That's how I feel. Give me that mask and devil, I'll tear you apart right now. Well, I'm going to tear him apart today with Scripture because he hates that. And it was already read by Todd Pickett. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. He's talking to you. He's talking to me. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. And it goes on and on. He already read the rest of this. So here we go. Jesus uses his master storytelling techniques to find meaning in our lives. And I think that's whenever I hear somebody from the pulpit tell a story, all of a sudden my ears perk up. Because that's something that speaks to my heart. It's relatable to me. It's relatable to my students when I tell them stories, right? And they say, oh, wow, that guy, my professor went through that experience. That's a trip. And they understand it and relate it. Jesus speaks to us in a way that we can understand our own purpose. So he's not just talking to a bunch of stones. He's talking to us. And through his words, we'll find meaning. We can be doing something while waiting for Christ's return. If he says that we're salt and we're light, that means that we are something and that we have a purpose in our lifetime. By Jesus teaching this, we see that God is not idle, but concerned about humanity. And Jesus is speaking with authority. And people are listening. Not only are the Jews listening, but the Gentiles are listening. The rabbis, the Pharisees are listening. Everybody's in on this conversation. In order for God to use us, we have to do something. We just can't sit there. I tell the story, since I'm a cinema professor, I tell the story of a student who wasn't coming to class, and I was trying to figure out what happened. I called him up and I said, hey, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. What's going on? And he says, oh, I'm waiting for Steven Spielberg to call me. And I'm thinking like, oh, brother, he's not going to call you. Get back to class, And he's just waiting, thinking that something magical is going to happen in his life, and it never did. We have to be doers. In the entertainment field, it is hard to be salt and light because it involves humility. And in the entertainment industry, it's really hard sometimes because you start believing the lie. And you start doing things that the liar is telling you to do. I had a student come to me last year. This is one of a couple stories I'll tell you. I had a student coming to me last year, and I heard a knock on my door, and I thought it was one of my current students, and it was this guy I hadn't seen in 12 years. And he goes, "Prof, I'm glad you're still here. By the way, I just completed teaching at Biola. This is my 25th year." So, Todd, at that awards luncheon, I like Rolex, it's fine. Whatever gold watch they give me, it'll be fine. So, so it's hard to believe that I've spent 25 years, and 12 years ago was a student that graduated, and he got a job working at MTV. And the guy comes and sits down, and he goes, "Prof, I know you have been praying for me. I know you've been praying for me because my mother told me that she's been calling you and asking you for prayer. And for 10 of those 12 years, I would go out every night to happy hour because I wanted to be part of the group. And one day, a couple of years ago, I just woke up and I said, 'Alex, what are you doing?' And he said, 'I came back to find you to tell you I love Jesus.'" There's hope. Jesus is saying these things to his disciples, and this is not something just for the first century Christians, but it can be applied to us today. And we as Christ followers are salt dispersed throughout the world, and that is how we represent ourselves as living sacrifices. Salt is a negative commodity. It prevents decay, and everyone throughout the earth uses it. So we all understand that metaphor when he brings that up. We are salt, then we add flavor, or as we say in Spanish, un sabor, the taste of life. It is a distinct, salt is when you go, when I go to a Mexican restaurant and they put chips there, I just can't eat them like that. I have to put some salt on it, to give it that little biting flavor, right? Have you ever walked into a room where people see you, they know you, they know that you're a living example of Christ, and all of a sudden the room gets quiet? That's because you are that salt that convicts. You are that biting flavor. We are light. We cannot be a light for a select few, but we have to be a light for all. Jesus, when he's talking about light, he's basically saying in this world, there is darkness. Everyone should come to the light, a safe harbor for lost souls. There is a promise to Abraham that his descendants would be the sand on the seashore and the stars of the heaven. And so now I want to share with you a couple of personal stories. Before I do that, I want you to, I'll share it to you first, and then we'll do this exercise. I walked into a restaurant, and it was a restaurant. It was a fundraiser for film projects and things like that. So I showed up, and there's a bunch of believers there. And somebody came up. They introduced me to this lady, and this lady, she didn't know who I was. And all of a sudden, she says in this restaurant, "Oh, before you leave, I want to pray for you." And I'm thinking, like, in a restaurant here, public, I don't even know you. And have you ever had those moments where you try to find the back door, like you want to sneak out? So I was done with my dinner. I was done with the event. I saw a side door. I was trying to sneak out. And who should say, "Hey, I want to pray for you. Don't forget." And I'm thinking, like, And you know what? She prayed a prophetic prayer. She said, "You will have many generations of children, and they are not of your own blood." And I said, "Oh, wow. Does she know I'm a professor at a university? Does she know that I've been teaching for 35 years? 25 at Biola, 5 at Loyola Marymount, and 5 as a freeway flying professor teaching at different other schools." And I took that to my heart because I said, wow, I will take that. I will take that. Thank you for sharing that with me. I want you to just take a minute. If you're next to somebody, and we're only going to do this really fast, think of the most poetic thing you can think of, that person that either you're next to or somebody that you know. And you could say it only in one sentence. What would that thing be? Think it right now. That one poetic sentence that you could think of somebody. While you're doing that, I'll drink my water. Okay, did you get it? Are you done? Whatever that thing is that you have in your mind or that you shared with that person, that's what Jesus thinks of that person. That's the light that Christ has brought forth this morning to that person. Somebody said something very poetic to me just a month ago. And they said it in Spanish. Somebody I hadn't seen in years. And the person said, "Eres un árbol que da sombra a muchos." You are a big tree that gives shade to many. I will take that. I will take that. That's pretty descriptive of me, I think, I'm just a big Mexican guy, that cares for people. And I'm amazed at my journey. A poor kid from East LA, people said, "You can't go to college." I went to college. I went to Loyola Marymount, got a master's degree in communication arts. They said, "Hey, you're pretty good. And you want to teach here?" And I thought, wow, that's great. And then somebody said, I said, "Well, I'd like to go to USC." And they said, "Oh, that's for rich kids. You can't go there." And I wound up going to USC. Not only that, I taught there for 10 years. And then somebody said, "Wow, you'd be great at Biola." You know what? When I became a Christian my first year in college. And so I started going to church, and my youth pastor said, "Now that you're a Christian, you can go to Biola College." Back then it was Biola College. "You can go to Biola College." So I ordered the catalog. And it was a little paper catalog. I opened it up, and in there it said, "We do not allow dancing on campus." And I threw the thing in the trash. I said, that's silly. I'm not going to go to a school that doesn't allow dancing. That's a silly rule, you know. And then God has a sense of humor. Well, I'll send you there as a prof, you know. And I came back later on. I hope that rule has changed. I don't know. But anyhow, I've seen Barry Corey dancing, so I think it's okay. But and so God has a sense of humor in our lives. And he says, I have a purpose for you, and that's part of my purpose. If we are God's children and in his perfect will, we have a responsibility to be the hands of Christ extended to the world. In Galatians 3:24-25, so this question comes up. So then, the law was our guardian until Christ came, in order that we might be justified by faith. But now that faith has come, we are no longer under a guardian. The law gives us knowledge of sin, but the law cannot save us. Christ only can save us. It does not have the power to sanctify us. It doesn't mean that we are, done with the law. It means that the law is not our focus. That I don't have to go through all these rituals. I went shopping in Beverly Hills once, and I gave the gal my credit card, and this older woman, she looked at it and she goes, "Oh, Gonzales, you're Jewish." Because she didn't know it was Gonzales, but she said Gonzales. And I do look sort of Mediterranean. I could be a bunch of different things. When I was in Hawaii leading worship, some guy came up to me and said, "Man, you big guy, what island you from?" So God has created me the way I am. And back then I used to have more bushy hair, so I could see. He probably thought I was maybe Samoan, But the reason I'm talking about this, giving you this example, is because we don't have to wear the little yarmulke or whatever and go, having shalom, and do this kind of. We don't have to go through rituals. We don't have to be legalistic in that way. God says, Christ says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. You know what? That's what I live by. People, if they ask me, what are the rules you live by? I say, those are the 2 rules I live by. And if I do that, if I love God with all my heart, then I'm cool. I'm in the safe zone. I don't have to worry about things. I don't have to worry about the law. Remember when you were a little kid and your parents, your mom probably especially, said, "Don't put your finger by the fire," right? Don't put your finger by the fire. And every time, sure, after a certain period of time, you realize, you grow, you mature, and you realize before you're thinking about the law, that's a rule. I shouldn't do that because I'm going to get burned. Some of us have gotten burned, right? Because we wanted to test it out. Ooh, she says, don't do that. And then we get burned and we suffer the consequences of that. In order to be effective, we have to be humble and blameless. That's really the bottom line in all of this. Whose world is this? Well, this is the world that we live in. And who are we? We are children of God. And what can we do? Well, we can be the hands of Christ extended to the world. We can be that light. I brought a flashlight. It's not working. I want to continue. Rebecca, can you come here and help me for a second and just fix this for me? I think I put the batteries in backwards. You can just take that out right there. So we can be the hands of Christ extended to the world. So is everything okay? Huh? There's money in there. Okay, well, you can keep this.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Hey, now it works. Now it works. You know where I got that lesson from? When I just graduated from college, I got a job as the driver for Corrie ten Boom while they were making the movie The Hiding Place. And Corrie ten Boom had a flashlight, and she was speaking at an event in Beverly Hills at the Hotel Bel Air. And she was fidgeting with this flashlight, and she couldn't get it to work. And she asked somebody to help, and somebody went in there, and they were, she was asking, does anybody have D-cell batteries on them by any chance? Those are the big ones, right? And so everybody was like, oh, help her. So the guy took it off, and there was something in there, and he unwrapped it, and it was a $100 bill. And she said, sometimes you have all the right tools, but there's something blocking the conduit between you and Christ. Christ is there and giving you the tools. You have that already. But whatever it is, I could have put other things in there to block that connection. There's a film that I like called The Guardian. And this film is with Kevin Costner, and he plays the drill instructor, the head drill instructor at U.S. Coast Guard Academy Training Center. And you see those guys, and some of them can't make it. They get washed out, or they use the word separation. They get separated. Some of them are amazing in the work that they do. And there's one scene in there when Kevin Costner says, they're all lined up, they've just about completed everything, all their maneuvers, all their training, just like some of you are completing all your training here at Biola. And he says this one line, I have high hopes for you. This is the guy that's yelling at them and screaming and getting in their face. And he's also the guy that sometimes would put his arm around them and say, you can do it. I know you can do it. So I want to close with this. With this thought. How might Jesus conclude today's chapel if he were here in flesh and blood? If he were here, if I said, and now to conclude chapel time, let's bring up Jesus Christ. And, all of a sudden he comes up here. Maybe he'd say something like this. I'm not going to say it with a Yiddish accent, okay? But he would say, good morning, brothers and sisters of Biola. I have been longing to share this message with you personally for a long time. I finally have a chance to do that with you this morning. A long time ago, I gave you a story about salt and light. It was one of the metaphors understood in the world then. Today, I could have said lasers and antimicrobials, and you would have understood it as the same thing. Some of you might have thought that I was an absentee father, but I was always there. I was there through it all. I want you to hear these things from my heart. There was a time when you were far from me. I saw the littlest things, but today you've made a choice to be here, and it's your choice and no one else's. And I am proud of you. By your presence here with me at this university, at this very moment, you bear out that you are salt and light, and I am exceedingly glad. There is nothing greater you've done than to embrace me with all your heart, to be my hands extended to a dark world, and to preserve my word. I saw the day you finally got it. It wasn't about how many verses you knew. It was how you chose to live your life and to live it for me. Keep your antenna alert, always listening for the Holy Spirit, and He will guide you. And when you see trouble, walk away, and I will bless you. Finally, I don't care what honorable career you choose, for they are all sacred, as long as you know that your purpose-driven life revolves around being salt and light. Kevin Costner was right in that movie. I have high hopes for you. You know, there are days when I've been here at the university and I have felt like not wanting to be here. I felt like running away, going to the beach, just getting away and saying, "Oh, Lord, I just can't take this anymore." And all of a sudden, the ordinary becomes extraordinary when I look in my mailbox and somebody, a student, goes beyond the law, beyond the learning, and writes me a note like this. Dr. G, it has been such a pleasure being in your classes, working with you. Thank you for always pouring out to us students and for always being honest with us, because you always shared about your life with us. It allowed our CMA department to feel less like school and more like family. And thank you for your sense of humor. Your jokes always crack me up. God bless you always. Blessings, Hannah. That note is the light of the world for me. Let's pray.
Biola University prepares Christians to think biblically about everything, from science to business to education and the arts. Learn more at biola.edu.